Welcome to another 999 art show. We started working on this last night, and I'm going to try to finish it tonight because it's a gift for someone that I'm giving away tomorrow. So we were going to do something else, but this is what we're going to do tonight. And so this is the reference photo that I'm going off of to make this. I'm probably not going to make exactly like this, but we might try and do something very similar to this. It's not exactly like this, but it's similar. So it's similar, but not exactly. I said that like 6 times. I'm beginning to repeat myself. So we're just going to get crack-a-lacking, huh? Let's see. I got some of my paints already dried out a bit because I've been painting on it for the last like 3 hours. So I'm into this thing at about 5 hours right now. I'm about 5 hours into it. And so I'm going to start by, right now, I think I got the skyline the way I want it. And as you know, I put a piece of tape down for the horizon line, and I blocked in where the water is. Now, yes, it's in yellow, but that's also that the sunset colors are yellow, and so there is a reflective nature between sky and water. And so I'm going to put the rocks in. And so I'm going to try to make maybe a big rock like this, and then a couple smaller rocks. Yeah, I think something like that. But I'm not going to put the actual sun. Well, I could actually. Maybe we should do that. I could put that. Well, I don't know. I may not need to. A spot where the sun is at. A focal point. And that actually right kind of here on the horizon, and it is a spot, a focal point. And so I'm going to put that in. So where you are at is in the final stages of a painting. This is where we're at right now. A lot of yellow in the sky, a lot of red. There's still blue. There's a bunch of other colors. But we're not really going for realism. We're kind of going for what we have the ability to do. And that's kind of the important thing. You don't paint from the place of what you can't do. You paint from what you can do. And this is what I can do. And so if you're doing painting at home, that's something you just have to remember, that you balance your expectations to reality, and realism is not always the preferred thing to look at, but it's not always possible. Some people have that gift of realism. I'm not one of them. So I'm going to work on that little sun brought. These are acrylics. I'm using this brand. This is the brand I'm using, Golden, for pretty much all of the color in this paint, in this painting, with the exception of the reflex yellow. And this is a Amsterdam series. It's a student series, and so that's what we're using. Hi, Ange. Welcome. Yeah, so this is, you remember this from last night. Well, we're working on trying to finish this. I want to get going on it. So I found a reference photo that was different. This is Cannon Beach, Oregon. Cannon Beach, Oregon is almost a 2-hour drive from where I live. I live pretty close to the coast, but this is pretty north, and I've only been there a few times in my life. But this is where what we're gonna do work on here. I'm gonna maybe work on that sun just a little bit, but I'm gonna put the rocks in. I'm gonna put this rock over here on the side, and then we'll do some other smaller rocks out on this side. Goonies, yeah, Goonies is a little farther north. Everybody says Goonies. I've only been to Astoria like once or maybe twice in my life, and Astoria reminds me a lot of like Seattle. I lived in Seattle for almost a decade, and yeah, let's go put that rock in, and then I'll work on that sun a little bit more. All my paints are dried. This is only, I started like 2 hours ago, and everything's all dried up already, so we will do, I think I'm just going to take the yellow right out of the tube. And yeah. And we're going to paint it here. Just kind of yellow sun against a really yellow backdrop. Painting circles is welcome, Quad Zero, welcome. Welcome. Roots is on the other side of the world. Well, on continental United States. She's not in the United States, but she's on the other side of the country. The continent. Why don't we put it that way? Okay, a wave. Hello and wave to everybody. Mike, welcome. I'm just putting this spot in. I suppose I could just finish it up later. If I don't put, yeah, we'll just do that. I want to build those rocks, otherwise I'm never going to build them. And I was hoping that I would have more time to make this, but yes, sir, Mike, I do sell my paintings. I sold a 4-scene last week. I make the same designs over and over again, and I keep perfecting them as time goes on. But this one here is a gift. This one's going to is a gift, and it's also on canvas board. And so if I were to sell this, I would put it on clay board or gesso board, or I would paint it on a literal board. Welcome, Bacon. So you start with what's far away, then you move closer. Well, I start with the sky when I'm doing and that's far away. And so I started on a so Mr. Bacon, I started on a this is how I prep my canvas this way with a 4-6 color underpainting of transparent colors, of warm over cool transparent colors. And I want to take a look at that reference photo again. I think we'll just roll it in here. Yeah. So we're kind of really starting in the foreground. I'm starting because I've been working on this for about 5 hours so far. And so let's go back and take a look at the reference photo. That's the reference photo. And so maybe I do need to work on that, the sun, just a little bit. So I think I'll start with some of the rocks. Yeah, I can't get that sun right. I'm going farther away. I think I need a different brush altogether. Oh, I know which one I need. I need this one here. Yes, they dry. They dry super fast. If you want more time to work, you use a drying extender like this. And so so I'm just going to use this thing to make that sun on the horizon like that, a big ball, and then we're going to come in. You know, I have some water here. I just had a drink of water because I got up and took a break, and now yeah, I'm gonna put some more of this paint in here. I took a break and yeah, just asking whatever questions you have. Yeah, my I don't, the camera is at the same level as my eyeballs right now, and so the screen is I'm looking at it. So the table down here and here, this is about almost like 16, 18 inches. I'm 18. I'm filming this on an Android phone. It's vertically mounted, and the screen that has, I have to look up to go look at the chat, and the chat is, and so the camera phone is pointed straight on down, and I think we'll do just another little bit. I thought I was done with the sky until I looked at a White Cliff. Welcome, White Cliff. Yeah. So we're at Cannon Beach tonight. Is where we're at. Not literally. That's where we're at in Imagination Land. Is in Cannon Beach, and that's what I'm. And have you been to? Have you been to Cannon Beach before, White Cliff? I know that you're from Oregon someplace. I'm assuming, without you saying anything, I'm assuming you're probably from the Portland area or Eugene, but you don't have to say. Yeah, so this is what I'm. That's my reference photo is coming from Cannon Beach, and I feel like I'm mangling this because I have a lot of layers of paint on here already, and that's what it feels like right now. From Eugene. Yeah, I haven't been to Eugene for a while. I used to I used to go contra dancing in Corvallis up right up until the pandemic. I haven't been after the pandemic because contra dance is like my favorite physical activity, and because it's like or I would go to a dance hall in Portland, and you were engaged in Cannon Beach. Wow. Let's just turn this on the side and let's see if we can just blend this sunlight into the background here. Yeah. I only like ask somebody, I only ask like, I only ask one time in my life for marriage, and that, and I, when I asked them, I was on the Sea of Galilee. It didn't happen. Didn't get married to her, and that was a long time ago. We were went on a we were going when it was so the Sea of Galilee in Israel. So being caught up in the the whole motions and the movements of um, that, and in the heat of the moment. Okay, I think this is going to work this way. When it dries, it'll be just to get that in here because I want that. I should have had that down in there first, but I didn't really look at the reference photo until just a second ago. You know what yeah, I've been dealing mostly with a lot of thin layers, thin transparent layers, and so we are, because I've been working on this surface for about 5 hours now. Just this portion here for about 5 hours. About almost 2 hours last night. 1 hour on camera, another hour off, and then 3 hours before I started turned on this stream. So those colors are going to blend together when they dry. Yeah, I can show the reference photo again. This is just Cannon Beach, sunset, some random photo. There we go. And well, you know what? It takes that much time. It literally takes that much time to do a painting. And I love the ocean. And one of my favorite places to go, but I haven't really stayed the night there before, is Oceanside. Have you been to Oceanside, White Cliff? And this is once it dries up, it is going to be blending right into that into there. And so it's just another layer of color. And we're just like super white. And when we finish up, I will probably add just a little bit more clouds in here. Maybe, but maybe not. Maybe not. Because it may, when I start putting that foreground in, it may work just fine without those things. No, Oceanside, Oregon. It's right. It's an unincorporated Tillamook. It used to be its own city, but it isn't anymore. So like when you go to Tillamook, and if you go, oh, you have a winter place in Oceanside, California. So when you go to Tillamook, and there is if you're coming down from on 101 from north to south, you're gonna take when you're right in the kind of the middle of Tillamook, you're gonna take a left-hand turn, and that's gonna take you around that knob. There's that knob where Pacific City's at. Pacific City's like down here, and up here is like Netarts and Oceanside. So if you're coming from the north, you may not see the turnoff to Oceanside, but if you're going south to north, and you're on that path, that part of the other part of 101 that goes around, and you go Pacific City, Sand Lake, and it goes then it goes a little bit further north, and then there's Neathart. And Neathart, then it's Oceanside. Yeah. You got family in like Oceanside, Oregon. So yeah, so I before I started caregiving for my mother full time, I got out a lot more. I don't get out much anymore, and then my mom is sensitive to COVID, so we don't get out at all hardly. So every time she's really gotten COVID, she's ended up in the hospital. So I just sort of stay put a lot, and I go places in my and I think this is acceptable here. The sun here, I'll probably do a little touch up later, but I may not need to do any touch up. My mom is doing fine. She's fine right now, but her short term memory is really really super short. I think that's all I can say about that. And she's real tired. I don't know. She's tired, but tired all the time. But I think people who are 85 years old are tired all the time. Okay, let's go start working on that. But let me put my reference photo. Oh, it just disappeared. Feel like nothing's getting done here. I did doubt where. No, my image just disappeared. Well, I know what it looked like. Okay, we're gonna put that haystack rock in, kind of like here. Maybe over here. I need to look at that picture again. Well, thank you. Thank you. She's actually well for she does good, really good for 85-year-olds. I mean, it's not a she's very well for an 85-year-old actually, because she can still like she's had a she has some mobility issues, but only because of having had both a hip and a knee replacement. And you can, you can show me one of your oils. I have an email address in my channel description, and you can email it to me. Um, so let's just do that. That looks kind of like how it looks. Trying to get it doesn't have to be perfect, right? And it looks like it's a long ways away from the sun. All right, it's a long ways away from the sun. And yeah, there it is. And since we're on the yeah, Karen emailed me a picture to look at. It was a while ago. I haven't. I should go back and find that one. It was a bit more complicated. It looks like hell right now, but we're gonna work on it and give it some more life. I'm gonna bring it down below the horizon. Okay, I need to change brushes here. I'm basically using watercolor brushes for this, even though we're not, Okay, I just rub the paint right off. Okay. All right, let's just do this. the water ain't gonna look, the ocean scene is not gonna look anything like it. So, all right, so here we go. We need some more gel medium. And this probably would have been easier if I hadn't slept until almost dark. I was up late, and okay, we'll add up this in, make it a bit more. As you can see, this is really transparent in here, and I'm in danger of pulling the paint right off the. I'm lifting the paint right off the surface there, and I want to bring it down a bit. So this is like your bigger one that's like close, right in the. And so I always find that this part of the game, it's really kind of difficult, and I feel like I'm really just using the wrong brushes here. I'm gonna bring my hair dryer out because I need to dry this so I can add another layer on, because that paint is really. I've been hurrying this process along the entire evening. Instead of letting everything dry completely, I have been rushing it. I've been rushing it here. All right. Okay. I wish we could listen to some music and not get copyright strikes. Like right before this, I was like listening to shoegazer music. I love painting to shoegazer music, or like something like Nightwish. Okay, this paint's on here really heavy. This is like a must get done tonight. A painting must get done tonight. As I said, I'm giving it as a gift, and they're leaving for Texas for 2 weeks on Tuesday. I did have another one of these done, but I gave it to somebody else. So it has some texture on here. There we go. And now let's go back. I'm thirsty. There we go. That's just to show that I was actually drinking water here. Okay, let's take a look at this again. So it has some pillars. Yeah, it has some pillars, some pillar-like things in the far, far distance. And we'll just put those over here. pillars of salt, huh? Yeah. Yesterday, one of Mom's classmates passed on. Somebody she had known since the fourth grade, and he literally just lived like, you know, 500 feet away from this house. So, and if you see any of some of the pictures of the area of the video that of this area that I'm living in, they own the valley. So this is their landowners, the big landowners down here, and so. Look at these pillars. They're just like spilled color. Welcome. Welcome. And we'll just put another one of these haystacks in over here. I want to go to Hawaii. This time of year, I get just the feeling of wanting to go to Hawaii. In 2018, I turned 50. I just gave away my age. Okay. In 2018, I turned 50, and my present to myself was I bought myself a 9-night vacation on Waikiki, and it was the only time I ever went on a. Now I'm gonna sorry if it's gonna sound like I'm getting really braggy here, but I didn't do any budgeting or penny pinching on this. I had just started a new job as a bartender in a casino, and since I'm not married and I don't have any children, I just sort of splurged on myself. And it's funny that lots of how many people there are in my family that has not gotten married or haven't or reproduced. I mean, I have a first cousin. She is a artist, and she lives in the Portland area, and I'm 4 years older. So yeah, just a little bit older than your husband, and yeah, and so my first cousin, and she is a fashion designer, and she teaches sewing in the Portland area, and her I've been in her house a couple times, but it's a craft house. She's single, no children. See, we have that in my it comes down on my mom's side, is that autism spectrum disorder just gene, and so there's quite a few of us who have that, which makes romance a little bit on the difficult side. And so so it's really strong, and so like one of my sister's youngest son is, well, we're not like we're super high functioning. We're very high functioning, but kind of the specific of it is called audio processing disorder, and my mother has it too. She and you can go just look that up. I should probably just do a whole episode on. I'll probably do it on one of my new things that I'm going to be trying, is this after church chat. And I was going to do tomorrow's at 2, but I got to be over at my sister's by 2, so I bumped it to literally right after church. And And so I might actually, in one of my after church chats, talk about uh, audio processing disorder. And it's kind of, I have a hard time explaining it to people, but I think it would be easier for me to explain it if I wasn't doing something at the same time. But nevertheless, I went, I took a Hawaiian vacation at the end of February and part of March, and I had just started a job as a bartender, and it was and as a casino bartender, there's all these. And because I'm also a personable person, you person in that industry, you can actually you can really make bank in in working in casinos. There are drawbacks to casinos. They're not easy places to work, and they're not easy ones. And it's really easy to get fired in a casino. Really easy to lose your job. And so, for instance, I don't really want to say which casino it was that I worked in, but if you were, you know, if you live around here, you probably know exactly where I worked, but you don't need to say it. And it was great. It was great to take a vacation. I'll have to tell you, it was great to take a vacation and not have to watch every single dime that you spent. So, like for instance, I was at the that was actually that year. That's the last time I drank until I vomited or anything like that. It was on so 6 years ago. Actually, 7 years ago now. I need to take a look at the reference photo again. And so there are some other little rocks out there. Okay. And oh, you know what? We don't have to be exact, so we're just gonna put one over here. So I had brought with me, because I had heard that you go through airport security, and sometimes they confiscate the stuff that you bring with you when you go to Hawaii. And so I brought like $50 worth of very cheap liquor with me, along with you know, along. And then so I was like before I would go down to the bar, in the hotel that I was staying at had a bar. And the prices, everybody said it was expensive, but I didn't see that the prices were that much more expensive than any of the places like you might go, like in Lincoln City or in Seaside, or you know, or even at the casino that I worked at, drinking prices. And or maybe in some of the nearby towns, you go into a pub, and you can get $6 beers and all of that. And so the prices to me didn't seem any different, pretty much. And so I was drinking. Somebody bought me a drink. I drank that, and like I say, I had already pre-drank before I went in. Drank this cheap. I brought this cheap liquor, which was all like well liquor that I can't remember what it was. It was stuff that I know that it was the casino bought it for like $1 a fifth, and I bought it for like $5 a fifth at the liquor store. And yeah, thank you. And so let's start working on the water. And and so one guy bought me a drink, and then someone else bought then I think I bought a one. Then I said I want some tequila. I want some tequila. Because I really like tequila. And they had on the shelf. There was this really fancy ceramic bottle of tequila, and so I was pretty well lit up at this time. And so I pointed to this thing. I want a shot of that, and I knew it was top shelf. I didn't know how top shelf it was. And I said, I want it, and I want it in a snifter. I want it in the same kind of glass you would drink brandy out of, or cognac, because if you really want to taste your liquors, especially if you're going with like medium shelf or top shelf, or what I would consider top shelf is not necessarily like $1,000 a bottle, but like somewhere around $50 a bottle. That you would want, or even lower, you'd want to taste it and be able to really taste it to get, so you use one of these snifters, and they're kind of like they're, if you have never had it, they're I have some of them in the kitchen, but so they're kind of like a wine glass, but they're kind of a wide body, and they got a big opening like this, and so you can put your mouth and your nose in there at the exact same time. And so I had some of this, and man, this liquor was so good. It was sweet. It was a Blanco, so it was a Blanco tequila. It was like a white wine, and it was just the best stuff in the world. And then I got a second shot of it. Now then the bill came. Now when the bill came, I was kind of thinking, oh my god, that stuff was $40 a shot, and so I bought essentially a double shot of booze for $80 in this at this hotel bar on Waikiki Beach. And anyways, I don't know what color my water should be. It should be all these colors up here. So I'm gonna go back in, and anyway, so that's my story. My birthday, and then afterwards I like vomited. Was so drunk when I went back to the hotel room, and then and then the next day I was supposed to go to this luau. I think I'm just gonna paint a thin layer of yellow on here just to get that sky color into the ocean. And yeah, I'm gonna do that because I'm doing too much talking and not enough painting. It's that whole multitasking thing. And we're just gonna put this in here. Just some water, yellow, and then we'll add some reds in there. So what we're doing is we're mixing, this is glazing fluid I got here, and glazing fluid is just it's acrylic paint thinner is what it is. But instead of it, and it does exactly that. It thins the paints down. And so since we got a lot of paint on here, we can get some of those textures. I'm not going to go for that whole ripple wave as it was shown in. Okay, all right. I will look at them when I get offline here. I cannot multitask this phone like that. So I will be coming back at like noon tomorrow, and if you I can take a look at it then, or yeah, that's right, because yeah, and I'm not going to take the, yeah, and thank you, yeah, so I'm going to probably make the water over here a little bit redder. Maybe we're going to come in here, and I got this yellow ochre. We're going to mix that in here now. I really don't like to use too much of this paint at once because it is pretty expensive. So I bought this tube on sale for $20, or maybe it was like $15. And so like the art store that I get my supplies from has a sale every fall, right around time school starts. And it's in a college town, and so they're hoping that art students are going to come in and buy their paints. So I tend to buy those paints at that time of year. You know, this same brand, this teal, this thing is about like $6, whereas like this tube of paint here is like $4 or $5 in the student grade series. I'm just saying that. I'm not like bragging. I'm just talking about what the price is. This extender is like $13. But if you go down into Liquitex, the Liquitex is a professional product, but it's a little bit cheaper. And so this is like about $10. So everything costs a whole lot of money, you know, when if you're a painter, you know that's what things cost. Things cost things. And so, and since this paint dries like super fast, I'm sitting here yakking away. Kind of makes me feel a little guilty if I'm wasting paint like that. Does that make any sense? And you know, I'm older, and my folks, I don't have those same depression values, but you know, a lot of people, you may know your grandparents that they lived through the Great Depression, or your grandparents were raised by people who lived through the Great Depression and then have a total different set of values when it comes to money. And it's just even like the people that live in my neighborhood, and though they're fairly, you know, most everybody in my neighborhood were business owners, including my folks, my dad. My sister is a business owner as well, and I have been self-employed from time to time too, so all that kind of stuff just kind of flows together. So what do you think? Is it starting to come together as far as like we have this is where the shore is. I like that with some red in there. It wasn't in there, but anyways, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to hit this with a hairdryer soon, just to make some of these colors just a little bit darker here. It's not going to look anything like the reference photo, but maybe someday I can paint that realism like that. I'm thirsty here. I think a bug flew into my water. It did. Yeah. Yuck. Well, there's no more water. All the water's gone. All right, well, so much for hydrating. I'm going to try to get that energy of the water here, these different colors. Let's go add some... Oh, it's already dried up already. And just put a bunch of water in there. I like this color anyway. I'm going to mix it with this yellow ochre. You know, it feels just really quiet inside my head. Yeah, it's just quiet inside my head. I'm in here an hour now. Oh! You don't need that happening. Kind of make it, these things will make the water kind of orangey. Well, let's just see what we can do to texture this out. I need to pull my hair dryer out and give it a good old dry in here. Oh. Oh, I still taste that bug in my mouth. Okay, let's go to another brush. Apologize that nothing seems to be happening right now. It feels like everything's moving at super slow speed here. I think we're going to go in and use some of this teal if we have any of it left. Okay, we have some here. All right, let's just move in, put some of this glazing fluid in here. I don't know if I want to use that straight on there. It seems like it needs to either be thinned out way more, or we need to add another color to it. I think I'm going to add another color to it. I'm going to add some of this Zilron Crimson, whatever's left in here, and add it in there. So it gets more of a purpley color. I'm going to take a look at that reference photo again. Now, since I don't really have a lot of those colors in the sky there, I guess I can do, cause you see here, when you see this reflection on here, it does have a lot of these yellows and the reds, and they're all in the water there. And then this is more of like a purpley color. But we can kind of invert this around and gain some um, more yellows and more of those sort of earth tones right into that part. And yeah, let's see about that. Okay. I'm gonna just be on for a few more minutes because I'm really feeling super quiet right now, and might want to add a bit of white to it just to tone it down just a bit. Now it's going to turn kind of grayish tone. I don't really want. Okay, so it's a more of a grapey tone. Okay, I'm going to go with that. And that's just kind of more of a basey coat. Okay. I'm going to add that in probably right around this area here. It's maybe just an intro coats. I'll have a place where everything matches. All right, let's just kind of bring that in here. So we got all these colors will be, in a sense, visible through the through it all. Okay, I'm gonna come in up here, just sort of bring it in very lightly back in here. I might change gears here just a second and just go to do something a little bit simpler because I am going to be, as Moon Scarab has wanted me as a goal for this channel, to work on a Oracle deck. And so these are some blank cards. And last night, after I turned the camera off from the live stream, I put these on in stencils. And I think I'm going to just use up my paint and add some stencils, more stencils onto the front of this. And then, and that's what I'm going to do in just a minute. I'm going to just do a little bit more layers here. And so you guys aren't going to see the finish of this painting. I'm going to finish painting it off camera. I need to I need to do some other things. So what it really is appearing to you from your looking in on this, and I guess for the most part, I'm still in the color blocking phase. I'm still blocking the colors in for what the foreground is going to be. So I'm building the closer up things, and so there's going to be, if I'm going to finish this tonight, I'm probably going to finish it like around 2 a.m. and I really need to get to sleep before 5 o'clock in the morning. And so we're going to yeah, We'll have more yellow that's going to come in on top of that, but this is going to stuff is going to have to dry a lot more in order to do that. I'm going to clean this brush off, and we're going to add some of that Azileron Crimson right on top from what I have left of it right over here. So it makes kind of an orangey tints here. There is a little bit of difficulty in painting water when you're doing a lot of bright colors in the water. Of course, there's always this expectation that water is blue, but you know, when you go down and look at the sea, water is oftentimes green gray. It's a green grayish tone. But then when the sun is on the horizon, there are all these other colors that are in the water too, and so you can catch it where you just see it all in there. And so as a painter not doing realism, you can make your water any way you want it. That's what I'm trying to say. And to capture that emotion. So what I have captured here is that we're looking far away, and you're looking far away, and you got all these yellow tones and these darker tones and all these other tones back in here. And so it has this sort of a blanket-like effect here. And we're looking at it, and it does kind of come together and work once we get the foreground completely completed. And so I'm going to move over to using my paints up, and I'm going to add some images onto with my stencils. And so we'll just move this whole thing over here. So this part's kind of boring, so we'll just do this for a minute or two. And this is a stencil brush. I need a blotter. And so I will come out with my blotter here. This is what I've been using for a blotter. And all right. I'm just going to put some things like this in here. So when you're doing stencils, you're doing a tapping motion. Just a little tapping motion like that. We're trying not to get it to have too much bleed through, so I'm just going to do one color at a time. And so we're just running these things up by layers. And so in the past, when you did color printing, it was one color at a time. So if you ever looked at a Tarot de Marseille, it's very simple color blocks, you know, red, blue, black, yellow, and there are a lot brighter colors too. Maybe we'll do a couple different things here. Let's come into this white and tone things down a bit. So we got this thing in here. see how that looks. Yeah, that's not bad, right? All right. Yeah, let's do that. I kind of like that. Has a different kind of an effect. We're just going to do a few of these. For people who need a sleep aid, this portion of the video will work perfect for that. What could be more perfect for like a answered cards or an oracle deck than to have like mushrooms on it, right? As far as your card back is concerned. And yeah, it's got some bleed over, so you have to be careful with that, but we'll find a way to match that into the whole thing, or maybe I will just do more of these until I get the right number of cards that I want to have in it. So if Ramon happens to be watching this on the replay, see, I'm working on it. You get all the answers from mushroom. Oh no, that was a bleed through. I didn't like that. That's no good. I lost one. Let's put that one over here. That's for something you don't want to do. So there was too much water in that. Oh, damn. All right. Better not. Let me just try another sample here. Let's just see. Making sure that that doesn't happen anymore. Yeah, this is all done. All right. I am done for the day. Thank you for everyone who pushed the like button and the sub button. And I'm going to be back for just tomorrow at 12 noon for my after church chat. I spent a little bit of time today thinking about it, and I have a couple buttons maybe you could push if you want to support my channel. I'm still trying to reach 1,000 subs as quickly as possible, but it's going to be not very fast coming into the doldrums of the year. And thank you, Ange, Roots and Waves. Thank you for being here and being my moderator. Thank you, Bacon Flavored Stream, for sending me pictures of your paintings, which I will get back to you. Can I get back to you in a community post on that? I can post the. Can I do that, or maybe you don't want them to be to be displayed to the world? So I can get back to you in a text-based community post about your paintings, or just email you back. Thank you, White Cliff. Thank you, Corn Gaming. Thank you, Spilled Color. And thank everybody else who stopped by to say hello in the chat. And that's all I got for today. And I'll be back tomorrow at 12 noon Pacific time for roughly about a half hour, maybe a little bit less. I got a story I wanted to tell. I don't know if it's interesting or not. I'll probably link a video about one of those experiences that I had. But anyways, that's all I got. I will talk to you later. Thank you very much, and we'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.